Hey there, and welcome to Billion Eyes. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the impact of ESG, environmental, social, and governance factors on investments. If you're in the 25 to 35 age range, this is an important topic for you to understand. As we move forward in the 21st century, more and more people are becoming conscious of the impact their investments have on the world around them and how they can use their money to make a positive difference. First, let's define what we mean by ESG. When we talk about environmental factors in the context of ESG investing, we're referring to how a company is impacting the planet through its operations and activities. This can include things like a company's carbon footprint, which refers to the amount of greenhouse gases emitted as a result of their operations. This could include emissions from transportation, energy use, and waste management. Another environmental factor to consider is a company's impact on air and water quality, as well as the use and management of natural resources. When it comes to social factors, investors are looking at how a company is treating its employees, customers, and the communities it operates in. This includes things like labor practices, workers' rights, and employee safety. Additionally, investors will also look at how a company is treating its customers, including issues like privacy and data security. Finally, social factors also include how a company interacts with and impacts the communities it operates in. This includes things like community engagement, charitable giving, and impact on local economies. Governance factors refer to how a company is being run, including things like transparency, accountability, and ethical business practices. This includes things like how a company is being managed and its overall corporate culture. Investors will also look at things like the composition of a company's board of directors, executive compensation, and the company's compliance with laws and regulations. Additionally, governance factors also include how a company is communicating with its shareholders and stakeholders and how it is addressing any potential conflicts of interest. Overall, these three factors, environmental, social, and governance, provide a comprehensive view of a company's overall sustainability and how well it is managing its impact on the world around it. This information can be used to make more informed investment decisions and to identify companies that are more likely to perform well in the long term. Now, why is it important to consider ESG factors when making investments? For starters, companies that score well on ESG metrics tend to be more sustainable in the long term. This means they are less likely to be hit by unexpected environmental or social issues that could negatively impact their bottom line. Additionally, companies that score well on ESG metrics tend to have better relationships with their employees, customers, and the communities they operate in. This can lead to increased productivity, better customer loyalty, and a more positive reputation. Another reason why ESG factors are important to consider when making investments is that they can be a good indicator of a company's overall financial health. Companies that score well on ESG metrics tend to have better risk management practices in place and are more likely to have a more diversified business model. This can lead to more stable financial performance and a lower risk of financial losses. ESG investing is also becoming increasingly popular among consumers, particularly younger generations. These consumers are increasingly looking to invest in companies that align with their values and that are making a positive impact on the world. By investing in companies that score well on ESG metrics, investors can ensure that their money is being used to support companies that are making a positive impact on the environment and society. Furthermore, as governments and investors are increasingly focused on sustainability and reducing the impact of climate change, companies that score well on ESG metrics are more likely to be in compliance with regulations and are less likely to face penalties. This can lead to a more stable operating environment and a lower risk of financial losses. In addition, many institutional investors are also increasingly considering ESG factors as part of their investment decision-making process. This includes pension funds, endowments, and other large institutional investors. These investors are recognizing the importance of ESG factors in identifying companies that are more likely to perform well in the long term. Considering ESG factors when making investments is important, because they can be a good indicator of a company's overall financial health and sustainability. Companies that score well on ESG metrics tend to be more sustainable in the long term and have better relationships with their employees, customers, and the communities they operate in. Additionally, ESG investing is becoming increasingly popular among consumers and institutional investors, as well as being in compliance with regulations on sustainability. Another important factor to consider is that more and more institutional investors are taking ESG factors into consideration when making investment decisions. This means that if you're not considering ESG factors, you could be missing out on potential investment opportunities. But how do you go about considering ESG factors when making investment decisions? One way is to look for companies that are actively working to improve their ESG scores. This could include things like companies that have set ambitious carbon reduction targets, or companies that have implemented policies to promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Another way to consider ESG factors is to invest in funds that specialize in socially responsible investing. These funds typically screen companies based on their ESG performance and only invest in those that score well. Additionally, you can also invest in exchange-traded funds, ETFs, that track indices of companies that score well on ESG metrics. It's important to note that just because a company scores well on ESG metrics doesn't mean it's a guaranteed good investment. It's important to do your own research and due diligence, but incorporating ESG factors into your investment decisions can provide added insight and potentially better long-term returns. In conclusion, considering ESG factors when making investments is becoming increasingly important as more and more people become conscious of the impact their money has on the world around them. Companies that score well on ESG metrics tend to be more sustainable in the long term, have better relationships with their employees, customers, and the communities they operate in, and institutional investors are increasingly considering ESG factors when making investment decisions. It's important to do your own research and due diligence, but incorporating ESG factors into your investment decisions can provide added insight and potentially better long-term returns. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out another video on our channel.